President Trump has said he's going to visit Puerto Rico next week to survey the devastation from Hurricane Maria. The governor there says the island is on the verge of a humanitarian crisis. Some lawmakers are calling for an accelerated federal response.
Some of the areas outside of San Juan where there's still no communication and no power, logic tells you there's probably some very critical medical needs that are unmet in those areas. The challenges are extraordinary, and it will take a much more aggressive federal reaction than we would traditionally see in order to kind of turn the corner on some of this.
Joining us now, FEMA Administrator Brock Long. Great to see you this morning.
See you.
All right, I know that you were just in Puerto Rico. Tell us what you saw there.
Basically, right now, we are working to rebuild Puerto Rico's entire ability to reconstitute command and control and essential services in these municipalities. It's highly complex. On top of that, we are going to be working, and the major objective is to stabilize the situation and provide life-sustaining support for numerous days going forward. On top of what's already in place in Puerto Rico, we have mobilized a sustainment force from the Department of Defense, which is going to increase tremendously the number of staff and the capabilities that are coming into Puerto Rico.
Okay, I know that the president has been briefed on what you saw there. He is going to go next week. In the meantime, what does he need to know about what things are like there on the ground?
Well, right now, I mean, here again, it's highly complex. I mean, not only are we having to, because there's diminished capacity at the local government level, we're basically on the hook for being able to push forward as much as we can to be able to sustain life. That includes opening up the roadways that have been heavily damaged. That's also doing debris clearance. That's establishing emergency communications. We're putting forward hundreds of satellite phones into these communities to establish a baseline level of communication to make sure that we have total situational awareness over the issues. On top of that, we're having to provide security down not only from points of distribution, but also at the fuel stations. So yesterday, we delivered fuel to 200 identified gas stations that Governor Rosselló pointed out. We're putting fuel in those areas. We're also providing the security to make sure that the commodities are getting where they need to go and not being diverted or taken en route.
Okay, I want to bring up something brought up by the Wall Street Journal's editorial board. This is the headline: Second-class Puerto Rico, Trump declines to waive the Jones Act for hurricane relief. And this has to do with shipping, waiving some regulations with regard to what ships can come in, what they can bring. Can you explain for folks so they understand what that's about?
So the issue is typically around fuel. When you waive the Jones Act, it means that you can't get enough fuel into, let's just say, Puerto Rico. That's not the issue that we're facing. It's different than what we saw in Florida. We waived the Jones Act in Florida because we didn't have enough fuel in the state to be able to get it in there and distribute it. As we understand the situation now, and working with Governor Rosselló, the fuel is in Puerto Rico. The problem is distribution. So American carriers have enough fuel capacity to be able to bring into Puerto Rico. But again, the issue is the fuel is there. It's getting it distributed because of the highly damaged infrastructure. It's getting it distributed to where it needs to be: hospitals, gas stations. And the governor has proactively limited it. So when you see people standing in line with gas cans at the moment, he has limited the amount of gas that anybody can get to 10 gallons, so that we're not experiencing a hoarding issue and people getting more gas than what they need. And so it's a highly complex issue. This is different than Florida. And when people are making statements, they need to have full visibility of the entire situation and why we do the things that we're doing.
All right, FEMA Administrator Brock Long, thank you for your time and all your hard work. We know it has been endless for weeks for all those working with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We need your support.